Hey there, YouTube. So, what a day today. I spent the night there at Russellville, Arkansas, where I picked this load up at. And so I guess it was probably about 10 o'clock this morning, Central Time, when I left there. And it was raining. It was in the 30s. Temperature was actually maybe 40 degrees when I left. And then as I headed west, the temperature dropped, and needless to say, by the time I got to Oklahoma, there was sleet. It was mostly sleet that was on the road, and so there were areas where the road was completely sleet covered. It was completely white. During the course of the day, I saw about 7 different wrecks. One of them, it was on Interstate 40. In Oklahoma, an 18-wheeler was on its the eastbound side on its side. I don't know how I did that, but it was on its side with the sort of the tires facing the road. It was in the breakdown lane, so it was like, it would be parked in the breakdown lane, except it was on its side. So on its right, on the passenger side, and the lights were still on the truck, the headlights. There was some kind of an emergency vehicle there that had flashing light that had already responded to it. The police weren't there yet. And so I saw, I don't know, altogether probably about 7 accidents today. And so I finally, I just kept going. A lot of the time it was 35, 40 miles an hour. Sometimes it was faster. It just, it was sleet, and it just kind of depended on, it would come. There would be areas where it was completely dry, and then you'd have other dry pavement, and then you'd go a few miles, and the thing would be covered, and it went from one way to the other all day long. Made it into North Texas. By the time I think I was about to Denison, and the Garmin GPS didn't have any of the other software running, but I had the Garmin on, of course, and it's got the FM traffic alerts, and it said severe traffic alert rerouting, and so I paid attention to it, and so it had me turn off on US Highway 82 and go west about 32 miles over to Interstate 35, and then go down and then through Fort Worth, avoid the Dallas area. Dallas, I brought up the TomTom, and they have the TomTom software on the Nexus. The TomTom software's got really great traffic if you pay for it. And so it had this traffic map, and Dallas kind of looked radioactive as far as traffic backups. And so it was a good thing that I paid attention to the Garmin and detoured, even though it was farther to go, detoured completely around Dallas and go through Fort Worth. So the roads through Fort Worth were, this evening, they were kind of pretty much dry. There was a little bit of, you can see where there'd been a little ice here and there. And I got down south of Fort Worth, almost to the point where 35 West rejoins 35 East. 35 East goes through Dallas, 35 West goes through Fort Worth. They split off, up above Dallas Fort Worth, and then they rejoin below Dallas Fort Worth. And about, 3 or 4 miles before, or 5 miles before they rejoin, there was, ice on the road again, and it just got worse. It was really bad. It went from dry pavement to ice covered. So I had to, came on down, had to stop. There's a Love's truck stop at Hillsboro, and that's where I was set to get fuel at. And that place, of course, since there's ice everywhere, is just an utter disaster area. But I stopped, and I was able to get fuel, and I was able to get out of there. And the guy was telling me that there's, the one guy I was talking to when I got Subway sandwich, he said, I was telling him, well, I'm going to have to find a place to park. And he said, well, there's this Walmart on the other side of the interstate. You're probably not really supposed to park in there, but trucks do. And so as I was getting back, on a service road to go south, I had a choice. I could either go to Walmart, or I could get in the left lane and back on Interstate 35, and I saw that there were a bunch of trucks already over here in the Walmart parking lot, and I figured, well, they're all there. One more, what are they going to do? You know, so and it's icy to boot. So, you know, so I'm spending the night right here, and you know, that's that. And I've already called the company, and I told them that, you know, my company, and I told them, hey, can't really do much. You know, I'd called them earlier in the day and told them that there was a chance that I wasn't going to make it. And they know, because, you know, this weather is over a really widespread area today. And the storm is continuing to move east, and so it's a gigantic storm. So it caused a lot of sleet, primarily in like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas. You know, so they're prepared for it. So they'll just. I was supposed to unload at 6 a.m. in Buda, Texas, tomorrow, but Monday morning, the first drop. But obviously, you know, I ran out of time. I had, you know, when I was gonna, you know, at Hillsboro here, I had about 1 hour of driving left, and I figured, well, if I've got a parking spot in this ice, I'd better grab it. So I came over here to the Walmart and was able to park, and that way, you know, not driving on ice, and I'm not looking for a parking spot to boot on top of it. So. So I'll take my break, and then, you know, they'll have to, you know, I'll call them, or I'll let them know in the morning. I'll let them know in the morning about what time I think I'll get there. And of course, it's supposed to get up above freezing, so probably by the time I leave here, this stuff's all going to be melted, and then I might be able to make it down there. But as of right now, you know, they put in the system that I'd be there by 1 o'clock. So originally it was supposed to be there at 6 a.m., but they've got in there 1 p.m. at this point, and so if they have to revise that, they can revise it. So, you know, it's about another, what does that GPS say? Another, it says 148 miles. So if the roads are just wet, I can probably make that pretty easily, unless there's some kind of accident or something on 35. You never know about the traffic on 35 anyway in Texas. But if it, you know, with the ice and what have you, ain't gonna happen tonight. So anyway, kind of, you know, the winter weather has struck, and of course they don't, you know, it will melt. You know, I was looking at the weather widget here on the phone right before I started recording this video, and it was, you know, showing that, you know, by 10 o'clock it's going to be probably it's going to be above freezing, and it'll probably start melting before it gets, you know, because it was showing, you know, it like partly cloudy. So if the sun pops out and it starts to warm up, all this ice is going to melt, and should be able to make it down there, and then that, you know, so we'll see what happens. So anyhow, from a very icy Hillsboro, Texas, catch you later. So I just wanted to make a quick little video and pan around and let you see the ice. That road ahead of me is covered with nothing but ice. That's the road that I'm parked on the edge of a Walmart parking lot, and that road goes into the back of some sort of like a car dealership of some sort. So you can see that it's very icy here in Hillsboro, Texas.